Hey guys, Big Terry here with Golden Oaks Worm Company, back with a new video, and today is moving day. That's right, it is time to move our flock to the great outdoors. But the first thing we have to do is make sure that they are protected. Now, I've been using these repurposed dog kennels to house them, which has proven very, very useful. I hadn't had to spend too much money on those elaborate cages. But if the birds are gonna go outside, I need to protect my flock. As we have foxes and raccoons in the area, so they could easily tear up one of my birds, and we don't want that. So as you can see, these kennels are great, perfect for the birds, but they do have very large gaps in the bars, and we don't want anything getting in there, squeezing in there, attacking them, or putting their paws or claws through there and hurting our birds. So what we've done is we have got some 1/2 inch hardware cloth, and we are going to reinforce the cages with this. But first things first, we have 4 cages to do in total, and we are not going to do them all at once. We're going to do them one at a time, starting with our first couple, Norbit and Rasputia. Now, just in case you guys are wondering, yes, I am raising Coturnix Quail for meat and eggs. But this first 9 birds, yes, I said 9, I consider my pets. I'm going to let them grow up and die naturally, and their offspring are the ones that we are going to use for meat and eggs. This first flock is going to be my pets, and they are going to be well taken care of. So, there's Cornelius. He's doing his thing. He's trying to, anyway. Some of the females are not having it. This is a quail mating ritual. The male bites the back of the female's neck and mounts her. But he's not been having so much luck. The females might not be ready yet. I got them last, so they could be a couple weeks before they're actually ready to mate. But we'll see. I have been getting eggs from them. Got almost my first full set of eating eggs that we're going to save for a friend that could requested them, and gonna be selling him some eating eggs. So I've got my first sale there. But back to what we were talking about, and that is getting these birds outside. Now we're gonna temporarily start with Norbert and Rasputia. We're gonna put them in our transport kennel while we get all of this taken apart, cleaned and sanitized and disinfected, reinforced with the hardware cloth, and set up again for them, the great outdoors. So we'll be right back while we get that started. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, so we've got our first cage cleaned and sanitized and ready to reinforce with our hardware cloth. Now, in addition to the hardware cloth, I also have a couple of tools to help us get this job done. The first is a rubber mallet to help us bend the hardware cloth. And then I also picked up some wire cage J-clips. Now, these are often used to build wire cages for like rabbits and whatnot. And we got a cage clip pliers to help bend those J-clips into position. So this is going to help us attach our hardware cloth to our wire frame. Now, this particular cage has 2 access doors, one here on the front as well as one on the side. And honestly, as I look at it, I honestly prefer this type of cage. So if I get any more in the future, I'll get this type because all my other ones only have one access door on the side. And it's a little inconvenient when trying to get access to the different parts of the cage. So if I do continue using these type of cages in the future, we will try to get the ones with two access doors. Now, let's get our hardware cloth opened up and sort it out, and we will start to stretch it and attach it over this kennel frame. Be right back. Okay, guys, important tool I nearly neglected to mention was a pair of wire cutters. We're going to need that in order to cut our hardware cloth down to size. And I wanted to give you guys a preview on just how these J-clip pliers work. So basically, you grab a J-clip just like this and insert it into our J-clip pliers like so. And then when you squeeze it, it closes it up. And that's how we close up our J-clips. So what we're going to do is we're going to stretch out this hardware cloth over the top of the cage, start fastening it down with a couple of J-clips, and then we are going to get it pounded to size using our rubber mallet. So bear with me, this is my first time ever attempting this, so let's see how it goes. Now, hardware cloth is very hard to work with in terms of it's stretching because it's very stiff. So let's find the edge here. I think that's pretty close to the bottom on that side. Let me come around the other way. Get this unfurled. All right, I think that'll do for right now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach using J-clips the end of this hardware cloth to the very bottom of this side of the cage. Just a couple of clips in order to hold it in place while we start forming this to shape. Okay, so let me pull you over here, probably get a closer look at what I'm doing. All right. Now, what I'm going to attempt to do is get the hardware cloth wrapped to this particular bar right here using the J-clip. We're going to put one here on this side and one on the other side just to hold it in place while we start to form the shape. So, all right, let's see if we can attach this. Actually, it might be easier to put the J-clip on there first. And get the wire included in that. Actually, let's turn this around. It's hard to do stuff when you're by yourself. Yeah, nobody to help you here. Come on, work with me. Okay, I think I got that in there pretty good. Let's try to close it up. No, that didn't work out so well. Okay. we're gonna do instead, this particular bar might be too big for this J-clip. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch this down a little further and create our own attachment point. For the meantime, what we're gonna do is we're gonna zip tie this into place. Never hurts to have a couple zip ties on hand. Let's try that. We're gonna go around this bar again to begin with. And we're gonna go through our hardware cloth. Come on, there we go. Got my zip tie backwards, of course. Right, pull it taut. I don't want to tighten it down all the way because we may be cutting those off later, but that's just to hold it in place. And let's do the same thing to the other side. Pull this down a bit. Get our zip tie. Around this lower bar. And through our hardware cloth. Okay, work with me. Sometimes you need 3 hands. Okay. All right, that'll help hold that in place. Now, we're gonna start using our rubber mallet to bend the hardware cloth into shape, starting with this first bend at the top of the cage. So, I'm gonna try and get this pressed flat up against the cage. Just like so. We're going to start hammering this edge here. Let me see if I can get a little bit more taut. Okay, I think we pretty much got this first corner preformed. We'll clean this up as we go along, but that is our first bend right there. Okay, so what I need to do now is start, actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this on this side and continue to form this a circle around this cage. So let's do that. Okay, let's stretch our hardware cloth around again. Try to get it as taut as we can. All right. Let's see if we can bend this again to the shape a bit. Looks like we want to pound it right here. Okay, it's not as tight as I would like it, but we are going to just work with what we got so far. All right, let's flip this back on its front side and see if we can get some of this attached. All right. Give these J-clamps another try on hopefully a thinner bar. Let's see if it'll wrap around here. Apparently, this J-clip tool is too large to fit through 1/4 inch hardware netting. So this is going to be pretty much useless to us at this point. We're just going to have to make do with zip ties. So thank goodness I bought some. It'll probably work better with a larger gauge of hardware cloth, but for the 1/4 inch, it seems to be too big. So we're going to zip tie this into place again. All right. Let's see if we can go straight across this line here and attach another one right across here. All right. So we have the top attachment point here. Let's see if we can stretch out this back end a little bit and put some more zip ties on this corner back here. thing to the other side. As you can see, I'm trying to flatten this, pull it and flatten it out as I go, and finding the particular place in the hardware cloth where I can attach the edge of the kennel cage to it, just like that. All right. So we got our edges for the top, for the front, and for the top. So let's pound this down a little bit to start getting our other back edges. All right, that's pretty good. All right, let's flip this over again and do the other side. Okay, that's tacked down. Let's get one on this side. On the side note, I found that using a pair of tweezers helps getting the edge of the zip tie through there when you only have two hands to work with. So, more tools for the trade. All right, and we're going to repeat that process. We're going to get this hardware cloth unfurled and pound it down to as close as we can to match the shape of the cage. Now, there is a little bit of a gap here. This is a trough for where the poop tray goes in, so it's a little bit longer in the bottom, but we're going to make sure that we cover this as well because we don't need any animals getting in here through the bottom of the kennel, which is why we're going all the way around, including the underside of the kennel, so that nothing can dig up into our cage from the ground. I'm going to do one more side and go around the other edge. Sorry about that, I'm dropping my tools everywhere. I don't have a whole lot of space to work with. And we're gonna come right across the front again where we started. Right about there. Let's get that pounded out. And then we'll attach it on this end here. Okay, so now that we have our overlap here on the front with the first side that we started, we're gonna start trimming off some of this excess, and basically we're gonna repeat the process for the sides. So we're gonna go right about here and across this line here. If I do this in the future, I think I'm going to invest in some electric shears because it'll make this a lot easier and faster. But since this is our first time, we just wanted to get an idea of how this is going to work and get the process started, because like I said, we have got to get these birds outside. They're called backyard birds for a reason. Now, as I'm looking at this, I may have to get a second roll of hardware cloth. This might not be enough to do the entire cage, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. right, so we got our excess trimmed off one side. Now, let's get this front side attached right here along the edge of the door opening, and then we'll cut out the this section that is covering one of the doors so we have access. And we'll clean up these tag edges at the end. But for right now, we're just going to get everything secured in place. Okay. That was tough. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut an opening for our door here so that we can make sure that we can still open our cage, and then we'll do the same thing on this side as well, and fold down the excess and trim it off. Okay, got that portion trimmed off. And now let's trim out our door here. Okay, 2 more sides to go, guys. All right, so that is good. Now we're gonna have to relocate that zip tie, but there we got the opening for our door sorted out. Let's test it out. Yeah, see, we can still open the door. Now, if you're wondering what we're gonna do about the gaps now that in the front that we cut the hardware cloth out, quite simply, we are going to put this back on the inside of the door, just like that. We're gonna put it on the inside, that way we can still open and close the door. So we're gonna take a short break, guys, and we will be back in a little bit. Okay, so we're back and we're gonna continue with our build. One thing I learned in the course of building this, doing this process, is that if I attach my hardware cloth directly to the cage at the point where I want it to stay, then it's easier to stretch and manage. So we're gonna do that on this side to begin with. Okay. And we'll do the same thing at the same level on this side. Okay, and now we're gonna roll this back up to the edge of our door, and I cut this right to the perfect size with the clippers here. Let me move this up so you guys can see it. So right to the edge here, I'm gonna stretch it and see it forms almost flush with the bottom of the door here, which is exactly what we want. So we're gonna zip tie it right here to this side. right. Good. So now when we close the door, you can see that okay, one thing I didn't think about is I gotta cut out the latching mechanism here. All right, so let's do that. Let's come down. Let's see, right about there. See how close you are? Okay, so yeah. So that will go right there. I gotta trim off this excess line right here first because it's in the way. So let's do that. All right, so we trim that down. And we're gonna take out this one last section here. All right, let's see now. Yep. That's where we want it, so that we can still lock the door here. It's a little tight, but nothing a little bit more adjusting won't do. So yeah, our latch still locks, okay? All right, so let's get this cleaned up a little bit more, and then we will start the front and back sides. Be right back. All right, we are going to start with this edge here, getting it tucked under the back side of the cage. First thing we're going to do is we're going to find our line that we're going to cut at, which will be right here along this edge. So we'll do that. And we're just going to go right to the corner here, right about there. And we're gonna pull this up, straighten it out a little bit. And we're gonna do the same thing on the back side. So let's get this turned a little bit. Actually, I might have to come around. I don't think I have enough space to work. And I just dropped my container J-clips. See, I need to get a workbench. Space to work. So we're gonna do the same thing on the far edge here. So we can tuck this under. I'm gonna find our line. Just be right about there and cut along the edge. Okay, now with that clipped, what we can do is we can fold it down. So once again, try to get as flush as we can, and we're gonna fold right here at that line. Just like that. And we'll try to pound it down a little bit with our rubber mallet. All right. And we are basically gonna do the same thing on all four sides. So we'll be back once that's done. Okay guys, we're back. So we got our edges cleaned up a bit, and we got the first form of the hardware cloth wrapped around our cage. The only thing left to do is to do the back side and the front here where the door is. So I think I have enough hardware cloth to do the entire thing, but we are going to find out in a minute, because I'll only have to cut a smaller piece for the back and then 2 small pieces for the side, and then we just reinforce the door again on the back side, and we will be done. So I'll be back once that is complete. Okay, guys, we are done for the most part. There's still a couple things I want to tighten up along the edges, but I ran out of zip ties to do that, so we'll have to get some tomorrow to finish that off. But for the most part, the cage is completely secured, completely surrounded by hardware cloth. We have our 2 access doors that we're still able to open, even though now they're a little bit tight, but we can still open our access doors. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna set this cage back up, get Norbit and Rasputia inside, and we're gonna give this a test run overnight, see how they do overnight, make sure that they are protected from any predators that might come around, and we are gonna check on them again in the morning. Now, let's get this tray back in here. Now, I started out using like the bedding litter, but found that it was quite messy. So what I've decided to do is just use normal paper towels in the litter tray, and then I'll just put bedding in their nesting boxes. In there. All right. Don't get caught. Yeah, see, this is something I got to button up here tomorrow when I get some more zip ties. Okay. Now, one other thing. Let's see, where did I put it? Now, we were using these makeshift nesting boxes that I had made out of pretty much reused Amazon Prime boxes, and they've been using them. I've been finding eggs in here, but I think it's time for an upgrade. So sometimes, guys, I forget that I do own a 3D printer, and a 3D printer can come in handy, clutch. So what we did was we 3D printed a new nesting box, and we're gonna give it a try. Now I can print a cover for this, but what I've noticed with the old nesting boxes is that sometimes they jump up here and sit and poo up here, which might not be a problem now because this material is actually very easy to clean. But we're gonna give it a try without the cover first and see if they will still nest in here and drop eggs. So let's put some bedding in here and get it in the cage. That should be enough to get us started. And we'll put that in the back corner here. Next thing we got to get is their sand box so they can dust bathe, but we're going to clean it a little bit first and get some of the remnants out of there. So they can have a fresh dust bath. Okay, so we're going to use that sifter that we purchased the other day and see if we can't sift some of this out. And we're gonna use this bowl here as a catch basin. That worked out very well. So this is the poo and the debris that's left there. We got mostly clean sifted sand there. So let's get rid of this. And we'll give it one more good sift. Back in the playpen. Yeah, see, we're able to get a little bit more debris out. All right. Now that's mostly clean sand. for them, and we are going to add some more to it. Just top it off a little bit. One more cup. That should be good. We'll get this inside. And last but not least, we're going to give them their feeder and waterer back. Actually, we'll give them the feeder back right now, and we'll give the waterer back once we get them outside, because it'll spill as I'm moving this around. So let's do that. Let's give them the feeder and get them back inside the cage. Okay, guys, ready to go back home? And Norbit. Come here, Rasputia. It's okay. Okay. We'll give them a couple minutes to get readjusted back to their surroundings. Get a little chow in them, which they seem to do right away. Getting a little food. And we will get them outside. See you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so we got Norbit and Rasputia outside and got their feeder and water in place. And we're gonna leave them here overnight. See how they do. And in the morning, we'll move them under some shade so they're not in direct sunlight. But yeah, so far, we'll see how this works out with the reinforced dog kennel with hardware cloth. See you guys in the AM. Sweet dreams. Hey guys, so as you can see, it's the next day, and Norbit and Rasputia survived the night outdoors, and they look like they are doing well. Undisturbed, getting used to the great outdoors and the fresh air for once. So we got one down and 3 more to go. Now this process did actually take me a bit longer than I intended, but considering it's my first time both doing this and using tools, I don't think I did too bad. But now that I have the knowledge and experience, doing the other 3 should not take nearly as long or be as difficult now that I know what I'm doing. So we are going to relocate them under my carport. That way they're not in direct sunlight. Right now they're on my back deck. So, and it does get pretty sunny back here. I don't have too much tree cover in the backyard as I would like. So we're gonna put them in the carport for now. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this video wasn't too boring, and I hope you guys are enjoying the videos here with the quail. And if you are, please remember to hit that like button, follow, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you would like to see in the future. And until next time, this is Big Terry with Golden Oaks Quail Hatchery, signing off.